What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Trout Wrangler Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Garrity. We got a little series coming up. I was looking at it. I began to go and record a full podcast with all 50 states. And I realized it was going to be an absolute mess to do. Tried multiple different ways, did a whole bunch of research, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is crazy. Tried to chat GPT it, just to get like an idea of some of these alternate fish that people chase in these different states. Chat GPT was useless, as always. And I was sitting here, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to break it down into a few parts. And every time I have a solo episode, I would just go over another four states. The first four we're going to do today is Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, and the New England states. So that's the four we're doing today. Those are the ones I know the most. And the rest of them, I'm just going to play it by ear. This should be probably, for this month at least, the last solo episode we do, unless something changes and we have to go on the fly. And we'll do another 4. But this is kind of going to be our structure for solo episodes from here on out. We're going to just try and pound out as many of the 50 states as we can. But I thought this was going to be a pretty cool little setup here. But before we get into anything, riversmith.com. Use code Wrangler10 to save 10% on all of your purchases. That's on the Riversmith River Quivers, 2-banger, 4-banger, the Convoy series, anything on that Riversmith site, Wrangler 10, you'll get 10% off your order automatically. So go to Riversmith, use that code, and it will help you out. So check it out and go and buy some. Great opportunity to go get your dad a Father's Day gift. So check it out, riversmith.com, and it is Wrangler10 is the code. But so now let's get into our meat and potatoes of the podcast here today. The first state, like I said, is I'm going over alternate fish to chase in the states of Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, and all the New England states. I chose Florida as the first one, just because that state has such a diverse ecosystem for fish. Because you like Florida is a huge state. If you've never been there, Florida is absolutely massive, and each part in like little region of the state is different in its own way, and its ecosystems are very different. The fishing is different in each part, because you got the Panhandle, where it's like you got Tallahassee, Destin, all that good jazz, PCB, and then you got the middle there, Central Florida, where you have all the lakes, the Harris Chain, Butler Chain. You got Johns Lake, Lake Panasoffkee. That's like your Harris Chain right there, which the Harris Chain is made up of Lake Beauclair, Big Harris, Little Harris, Apopka, Griffin, um, all those. I might be missing some. And then there's another lake that you used to be able to get to, um, Lake Yale. But also in that area, you have Big Henderson, Little Henderson, Lake Weir. There are so many little lakes in that little region of Central Florida that you can pull off into not even to mention you have so many little ponds when you're driving down the turnpike that you can pull off in, go park your car, grab your rod out of the back of the truck, and just go and fish for a little bit. You might catch a dang 10-pounder out of some of those little ponds off of the side of the road. And then you keep going south. The farther south you get, the crazier the ecosystem gets. And not to mention, you got Tampa, you got the Space Coast, all that stuff. All those fisheries are very different, and they fish so cool in their own ways. Um, but I'm gonna break it down, and just go over it as a whole. But I'm also gonna tell a few stories along the way, and just my experience with fishing some of these places. I haven't fished the Panhandle yet, but I have definitely fished that middle to South Florida, Space Coast, Tampa area. Um, and like I said, it is unbelievable there. When you think of Florida, when you think of the Sunshine State, and you're an outdoorsman, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Fishing, whether it's bass fishing, tarpon fishing, red drum fishing. They got I used to just go boom bass fishing. Florida, we're talking bass fishing. They have some of the biggest bass down in Florida, and you can catch them all on a fly. Here, but you also have specks, which are crappie. They call crappie in Florida specks. Um, you have largemouth specks, bluegill, and you can catch all those on a fly rod. Um, so that's more like the Harris Chain area, that Central Florida. You have some of the biggest fish that hang out in those lakes. You look at it every year. The Bassmaster Elite Series goes to Florida, and the weights are absolutely insane. You also have catfish out there. I always forget about them, but the weights are just absolutely insane. So when you're out there, clouser minnow, you can catch any fish you want to, in my opinion, on a clouser minnow. That is pound for pound the most versatile fly in the entire fly space. It's also fun. You can go catch them on a dry fly. This is a really crappy gurgler I tied. You can catch them on a hopper. There goes my Zappa-Gap. I hope that wasn't open, and it wasn't, thank God. You can go and catch them on a hopper. You can go and catch them on squirmy. You can go and catch them on a popbar. All those fish, there's nothing like catching a big bass on a fly rod. Comes up after something like that on top of the water, kabloosh, zzz, takes off. Nothing like it. Farther you go, go through or past Orlando, straight to the Space Coast. You have tarpon, you have reds, you have snook, you have what else? Speckle trout. You have all those saltwater species as well. 45 minutes to an hour from where you can catch one of the biggest bass of your life, or have the opportunity to catch the biggest bass of your life. That is 45 minutes to an hour away. You can go from the coast and be at Lake Apopka in under 30 minutes and catch a massive bass. It's crazy. You can go catch a micro tarpon in a 10-pounder in the same day. Go to the other way, Tampa area. You can go and catch a big red in Tampa. You can go and catch a big red in Crystal River. I always forget about Crystal River. You can go catch a tarpon in Crystal River too, and then drive 30 minutes, be maybe sometimes less than 30 minutes, and be at Orange Lake and catch a massive bass. Be at Lake Pan and catch like an 8-pounder. That is how the state of Florida is. That ecosystem is unbelievable. Just how you can go anywhere in the state and catch whatever fish you want. Let's move south a little bit. What's that river called? Let's see. You can go south and catch tarpon. You can go south, and on the way down there, you can hit Headwaters Lake. You can hit Okeechobee. What else can you hit? The St. Johns River. You can't really hit that on the way down to the Keys, but Jacksonville, got the St. Johns River there, the Intercoastal. And then you got Daytona. I've never fished in Daytona. I've really only went to Bike Week in Daytona to watch David Allen Coe and drink my body weight in Miller Lite, but all those places are unbelievable fisheries. But back to the south, southern part of Florida. Sorry, I'm getting a Snapchat. The southern part of Florida. The southern part of Florida. Dude, this is the part of Florida that made me look and was like, this place is fucking crazy. You go down, and until I went down here, which it was like, I want to say New Year's Day. It was New Year's Day, and I was like, you know what? I got the day off of work. I might as well go and fish somewhere. Just throw a rod in the car and just get to driving. Could have gone to the lagoon. Could have gone somewhere a lot closer, but I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I was supposed to go to a river and fish with a guy for tarpon and reds. Ended up the dude got too drunk on New Year's Eve and slept through his alarm. And I was like, you know what? Look down at my GPS. I was like, I'm only an hour from Miami. Might as well go down there and try and get on a Peacock. So that's what I did. Continued to drive down to Miami. That whole South Florida region is so big. Like you don't understand how big it is until you're like actually there. So I'm on my way down there. I call my buddy. I'm like, hey man, I'm finally going down to do the whole peacock bass thing. He's like, oh sweet dude, let me send you a few spots. Sends me a few spots. I get there and I'm like looking around. I'm like, this is insane. I'm pulling down there and I'm like, where the hell am I? I'm passing Hard Rock Stadium. I'm passing the Guitar Hotel. I'm passing like Fort Lauderdale. Places where I'm like, damn, dude, there's no peacocks. There's no peacocks in any of these places. And I was like, you know what? Trust the process. Keep going. I go to where my buddy said. I pull up, and the first spot I stop at, There's a little bit of moving water. There's a few like little drainage pipes and water moving throughout, and it's pretty crazy. I'm like, damn, dude, I've never fished anything like this. It's kind of like urban around there, houses on either side of the little canal. I'm like, holy crap. So, pull up. I look into the water. I'm getting my rod ready, and there are just peacock bass everywhere. Mayan cichlids, peacock bass all over the place. And I'm like, it's going to be a good day. There are peacock bass freaking everywhere. So, it's nuts. You sit there, cast. You can literally land your fly on the other side of the bank. Easy too. Like these canals aren't wide at all. So I'm sitting there and I'll cast like up creek or up canal and strip back. And like you land the fly and you're like, you know how it is. You're stripping your line. Say I'm throwing a clouser minnow. Chonk, 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 chonk. I'm watching that fly go through the water. And then every once in a while, you'd see a like brown blob come behind it, or like a brown and yellow blob come behind it. Kill it. As soon as you kill that fly and let it get to the bottom, that thing noses on it, gone. Doesn't like something about it. There are peacocks all up in this canal. So I get sick of peacocks coming up after my fly and just going away. Try slowing down my retrieve, everything. Nothing's working. And I decided to go to another one. Go down a little farther south towards Homestead. I'm just gonna say this is in Homestead because it's not. It's close, but I'm gonna gatekeep where it actually was. And I get down there and I pull into this place. I'm like, holy crap! This is the state of Florida. Dude, like this is what's cool about this area. It is so diverse. Like you go from glitz and glam Miami down the turnpike and you pull up to this little town and it kind of reminds you of something that you'd see in Latin America. And it's super cool because all the people in this little town sit there and they get around on four-wheelers. And you pull down into these little neighborhoods and stuff like that, and everybody's ripping around on four-wheelers. And while everyone's ripping around on four-wheelers, there are canals all over these little back streets. I pulled up on one, and it's just cornfields on either side. And next to the cornfields, you got same thing, like little canals. Like little canals. And you look at these little canals, and you're like, damn, there's no fish in there. So you're looking at them, and you're like, there's definitely not any fish in there. I get out, I still grab my rod, and I'm like, holy shit, there are fish in there. So I like get out of my truck, assemble up my rod, and get down to the creek side or the canal side, and I'm looking in there, and I'm like, what the hell? There's some guys fishing the same canal. And I'm like, you guys been doing good? They're like, oh, we haven't caught one yet. And as soon as he's saying that, his little son sticks a snook. And I'm like, I was like, what the fuck? Is that a snook? And sure enough, it was a snook. And he's like, oh, there's one. And I was like, damn, dude, that's pretty cool. I was like, that's a snook? He's like, yeah, there's snook. It's a snook. And he's like, they just keep going up and back. So they throw the snook back and darts up the creek to catch up with its buddies. So do the same thing. They're coming back down. And you just think it was like a little school of snook. No. It's a giant like group of fish. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, what the hell is wrong? Like, what's with that snook? Sure enough, they come by and it's like a little clusterfuck of snook and then a little clusterfuck of peacock bass. And they're all just meandering through this little canal all together, like intermingling. They kind of get by, and then I see something rise up and go back down, and sitting there again. I'm like, what the heck? I was like, what am I witnessing? Another, literally like a little bit behind the little gaggle of peacocks and snook. Another one comes up. See a dorsal fin or a pectoral fin, I think. I'm like, ain't no way that's a tarpon. Sure enough, it comes by. It's a damn tarpon, and a tarpon, a whole bunch of snook, and then a whole bunch of peacock bass, all in this one little canal, just meandering around. I'm like, this is the wildest thing I've ever seen. I was like, you got saltwater fish intermingling with freshwater brackish water fish, and then it gets crazier. A largemouth comes out of like a drainage pipe and gets with them. I'm like, now you add a freshwater fish into that little equation, and this is crazy. I was like, this is insane. So I'm like, I'm just watching these fish roll around, just kind of like dumbfounded, and that was like really cool to see, because being from North Carolina, I've never really seen anything like that, and when I did, I was like, that's pretty cool, man. Like, you got a snook, you got largemouth bass, you got tarpon and peacock bass, and then Mayan cichlids all in one little canal about as wide as the table I'm sitting on right now. I was like, this is crazy. So I go the rest of that day, jump a few peacocks and stuff like that, and I'm getting ready to leave. Stop at like one or two more spots, and just the last place I stop at is just like little same thing, canal just chock full of Mayan cichlids, and I'm like, oh, I've caught a few Mayans and peacocks. I was like, might as well go home, load up all my stuff, put it in the car, and I start the trek home. On my way out, I keep passing legitimate peacocks like you'd see at a petting zoo, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, am I seeing stuff? Am I having like the dehydration hallucinations? I was like, did I just see a peacock? Keep going, see another one, keep going, see like two or three more. I pull up to this dang house, and there's about 60 to 75 peacocks in this lady's front yard. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell? There's just like literally an entire just massive family of peacocks just walking around the road out here. And I'm like, this is quite possibly the craziest dang thing I've ever seen. So I'm like, damn. Keep going, and end up getting home super late that night. I had to be at work at like 8 or 9 o'clock the next day. I got home at like 3 o'clock a.m. and that was my little trip to Florida City. Or yeah, Florida City. Um, but Florida, that's just like a cool little place, man. There's a farm stand there that awesome. They have an awesome key lime pie milkshake. Check it out. If you look up, um, what's it called? Farm stand, Florida City, Florida. It will pop up. It's like a tourist attraction down there at this point. It's called Robert is Here. Really, really cool place. Like I said, massive tourist attraction now down there. Now to Massachusetts, just another really unique fishery. Um, like I said, I'm doing this little series to kind of educate people about species that aren't trout that they can chase on a fly and have a good time doing it. And the first one that comes to mind in the New England area is striper. Um, just striper are insane. That striper fishery all through that corridor from Maine down to Rhode Island um, is very, very good. You got some really, really good captains in the Boston area. Captain Joe, I think from Fly Fish Boston, super, super good. Um, super, super good captain. The guys that do the fly shop tour with the Fly Lords, they fished with them. A lot of cool people fish with them. And he is fantastic at what he does. If you want to see the New England striper fishery firsthand at its finest, you go and you book Captain Joe if he has availability. He is that good of a guide. You can also do it DIY. We tried to do it one time when we were in Marblehead for, I want to say, we were there for July 4th that year. And my cousin Paul, my cousin Connor, my brother, my cousin Lyndon, and everybody else, we went fly fishing. Or not fly fishing. We went fishing for striper. Um, we ended up using conventional rods though, and we ended up using conventional rods, and and we're catching our bait on sabikis. So we're out there in the middle of Marblehead Harbor. If anyone's ever been to Marblehead, that harbor gets pretty busy. But it's also a really cool harbor. And the striper fishing around Marblehead is pretty good. So we're out there catching mackerel on a sabiki rig. And we catch enough for bait, go out and catch a few striper. And my uncle was like, all right, pull in the sabiki. We're getting ready to move and go and catch some striper. So we're getting ready to pull up the anchor and go. My cousin cranks up the boat, and we hear clink. And my cousin goes, I forget which cousin it was, but I think it was Connor. My cousin Connor was like, uh-oh. I'm like, oh God. When I hear that noise and uh-oh, I'm like, oh gosh. I was like, there's something in that prop. So, sure enough, I look back there and there's a full sabiki rig in the 250 Yamaha prop. My uncle has to bring their little Boston whaler out there. We had to trim the motor up in the middle of a very busy Marblehead Harbor, and cut out the sabiki rig from the prop. And we're sitting there, and like, all right, we got it out. We ended up getting it out, and went on. We didn't catch any. He didn't catch any striper, but still like an interesting story that we could do, or that we could tell about the striper fishing in New England. Now let's get to my South Carolina. I'm mostly going to focus on the. No. I'm actually going to go double here. So we have South Carolina. What's crazy about South Carolina is you have a very, very, very good saltwater fishery at the coast in Charleston and the Isle of Palms area. Some of the best fishing, I'd say, on the entire East Coast, especially for red drum fishing. And they get a little push of tarpon out there too. And I didn't even talk about that in the Florida part is the tarpon fishery they got out there at Mosquito Lagoon is unbelievable. But we're talking about South Carolina now, so I could do a damn whole episode about that micro tarpon fishery in Florida. I could do a whole episode on that, but we're gonna talk about South Carolina. So they got the best red drum fishery on the East Coast, in my opinion. Just the tide, like the flood tide stuff. Just the way I got a good buddy that's a guide out there. I had a couple buddies that are good, that are guides out there, and it is unbelievable. Some of the reds that are out there are just massive. When I think South Carolina fishing, my mind automatically goes red drum. Charleston red drum, uh, getting on a boat, killing a few beers, and catching some reds. Also, they get that little push of tarpon. Um, they also have a good cobia fishery out there. Never caught a cobia on a fly. You got black drum, speckled trout. All your regular, your usual suspects down there in the water. Speckleds, reds, black drum, sheep's head, all that good jazz. But what people don't know about South Carolina is you go about an hour and 45 minutes from Charleston. Where do you come across? Columbia, capital of South Carolina. There's a little gaggle of three rivers right there that come together at Columbia. Think it's the Broad River, the Congaree, and the Saluda. If you look up those three rivers, first thing that will pop up is striper. I'm talking; these are freshwater striper. When the ones in New England, those are technically saltwater striper. These ones are freshwater striper, and that fishery is awesome. I've been to the Congaree a few times, and I fished it on the completely wrong day. Been dying to go back. And then I've been trying to plan a trip to the Saluda as well. The Saluda River is hailed to be one of the freshwater striper meccas of the southeast, and it is very possible to go and catch them without a boat. Gatekeeping the spots. I'm going to gatekeep the spots because I've been told by some spots by other people, and I'm not going to go against them and be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to tell everybody the spot on my podcast. No, not happening. That's not me. Loose lips sink ships. But another thing about some of those rivers is they are also chock full of smallmouth bass. And if you know anything about those river smallies, they're just little pissed off balls of hate. You hook one and it's like fighting a tiny brick, and they're just running and running and running in that current. It is so much fun. It is so much fun to catch those fish on a fly. Clouser minnow. Sometimes you catch them on a game changer too. I suck at tying game changers, but I got some buddies that are good at tying game changers. Sex dungeons. They love the old big the old big streamers. But those, yeah, that little meeting of rivers, unbelievable. Smallmouth and striper fishing. Um, if you go and look it up, I think Slab Dynasty has a freaking awesome video about it. So check it out. North Carolina. Um, I'll be honest. North Carolina. If you think North Carolina, you're automatically probably going to think trout fishing. You know, Blue Ridge Mountains, Smoky Mountains, Appalachian Mountains. There's so many good places to where you can trout fish that the other species kind of get overshadowed. You got a lot of really good smallmouth fisheries and spotted bass fisheries here in Charlotte. Lake Norman, Lake Wiley, um, all those areas have really good spotted bass fisheries. When you go out towards the coast, you like the Outer Banks kind of thing. You have really good, red drum fishing in the Outer Banks. You got a really good speckled trout fishery. And you think about it, if you want to go conventional, you got Pirates Cove, the Pirates Cove marina right there. You got the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. You can go offshore there. Recently, I've seen videos at Jeanette's Pier of people hooking tarpon on the pier. But you can go out there, have a really good time catching speckled trout, really good time catching reds. And the brackish fisheries, like on the rivers. I went to East Carolina University in Greenville. So you got right there too. You got they call it the IBX, I think the Inner Banks. And right there you have the Pamlico River, the Tar River, Noose River. What else you got? You got Hyde County right there. The Cape Fear Rivers out there. Those places also have really, really good red drum fishing, especially the Pamlico. The Pamlico, like I remember it was around every spring. The Pamlico River had a very, very, very good red drum fishing, where you go out there. We'd have buddies that would go out there, trailer their boats out to the Pamlico River, out there towards like, where was it? We used to go duck hunting out there sometimes. I'm not gonna put that out there. Not gonna put out now that I've said duck hunting, because I still got buddies that duck hunt out there. Let's just say it's Columbia, North Carolina. They're New Bern, North Carolina. Out there by New Bern, they got a really, really good red drum fishery. They catch some giant reds at night, dude. The giant reds at night out in the Pamlico River. And it's pretty sweet to watch. But I'd say that's the first four spots or first four states of this little series here, the solo series. The next ones, I'll pick some names out of a hat later this week, and we'll pick the 4 states for the next one. We might do 5 for the next one. So now we'd really only need 48 more. So check it out. If you liked this little format, let me know. If you don't like it, please also let me know, because if you don't like this, we will fold it. If it's something that you don't like, if the listeners don't like, I'll post a little question thing, so we can answer questions. We can just do Q&A episodes whenever I have solos. So that's about it for our first 4 states: Florida, New England states, North Carolina, South Carolina. But that's it. I oh yeah, 28th, June 28th next week. Finally figured it out. It is so the cast and drafts event is at free. I think it's Freestone Brewery out in Charleston. Go and check that out. And like I said, if you're looking for a good gift for dad, if you're looking for a little gift to treat yourself, Riversmith Outfitters, code Wrangler10 to save you 10% on all of your purchases. Until next Tuesday, I'm out. We got a good episode coming next Tuesday, so stay tuned. It's going to be super cool. But I'm out. Everybody have a good weekend. Cheers. Mix a few liquor drinks. Drink a few beers tonight. Don't overdo it and get in a car. You'll get a DUI. But till next time, I'm out.